No, 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 no. Hello guys, thank you very much for joining me into this lovely series of Mountain Blade to Bannerlord. My name is SnuxSnux, and I'm so glad that you guys are going to be joining me into this series, and I hope you do sincerely enjoy it. I'll be most likely in the comment section looking down on any suggestions that you have made, but enough blabbering on, let's get right into the video. Okay, here we go. So we're currently in our cultures tab, and let me just quickly recap on what the really game is about. So Mountain Blade 2 is all about medieval kind of adventures of you getting into the first point of view of battles, operating sieges, you name it, you get to do everything in this game, and it's really a massive opportunity for you to kind of explore that kind of fantasy world, if you may say. Kind of taking you through the whole introduction of the game. If you're not new to the game, I would suggest, and if you're only interested into the gameplay, I would suggest move on to the episode 2, which is where we're going to be getting into the game, completing quests and building our empire. But if you're interested in a little bit more in depth about some bits and pieces of what I'm going to be doing in character design and some stuff about cultures, please stick around. If not, once again, move on to episode 2. Alright, so I'm going to be taking you guys through a little small tour of like what each culture is about, and maybe give you some suggestions which are probably the best ones to start off with. I would suggest to kind of follow my kind of choice of picks, but if that's something you're not really up to, once again, this is something you can just kind of experiment, play around with, and do your own thing, really. Jumping into the first culture that appears is Valandians. If you really want to kind of start off in the game and like really kind of progress quite faster and conquer the world, probably one of the best chances to go is for Valandians. So let me just quickly recap. With each different culture you get different kind of buffs, so that really determines of what you can do in the game and how does that kind of balance things out. Once I actually go through all explaining like what each culture does, it's very important to know that even if you pick a certain culture, it doesn't matter in the game if you decide to maybe fight for a different faction or a different culture. So for example, if I choose perhaps Valandians, and their buff is 20% more upgrade XP to troops from battles, and if I want to perhaps fight for the Empire, their buff is completely different. However, because if I choose my background, it doesn't change that kind of buff. So this game has kind of changed the way games are with like medieval kind of playthroughs, and I think this is why this game is such a massive hit at the moment. Let me just go through a little bit details about each culture and what you kind of should be looking out for. So once again, starting off with Valandians, their main buff is to have 20% more upgrades XP to troops from battles. So if that's something you're into, for example, if you want to progress into the world and actually defeat more armies faster and like kind of level up your troops faster, this is the culture you want to go with, as that's a massive benefit onwards on the game once you upgrade your units to tier 5, etc, etc. This one's a really good one. Moving on to Sturgians. So Sturgians are more Nordic people, so their buff is not one of the greatest, but it's 20% less speed penalty from snow. So once again, in Calradia, the northern section, that's where the Sturgians are mostly based at. And even though 20% less speed penalty in snow is very good for you to outrun your enemies, or maybe drag them out in different kind of playing fields and take that advantage for them, it's not one of the main things I would recommend. Moving on to Empire. So this is one of the most picked cultures out there, due to probably because of their buff, which is 20% construction speed bonus to town projects, wall repairs and siege engines, which means have that success chance of actually sieging all these places, and maybe perhaps at the start, once you take something over, you need to guard those places because the AI will try to take them back, and Empire is really good with that because you get to protect your city. So with Azerais, their buff is caravans are 30% cheaper to build and 10% less on trade penalty, which means you can start off with the game and you're basically set for the game, as you have a massive advantage to quickly gather up the money in order to start running caravans, and once that goes, it's like a snowball effect. You will immediately be earning more money, which allows you to run bigger armies, etc, etc. So being Azerite is a massive advantage. Personally, I would say that's my #1 pick, as that's what I used in the start of the game once I was exploring it. Khuzait is more of like a plains people, everything about horses, horse archers, cavalry, you name it. So that's their kind of thing. And their buff, which is interesting, which is 10% extra speed bonus for horsemen on campaign maps. What makes Khuzait great is basically that you can outrun, and you will see this more clearly within the game afterwards, is that you can outrun your opponents and you can drag them out from difficult terrain for you to basically choose what kind of map you're going to be fighting in. If you're fighting also for the Khuzaits, their units are very cheap and easy to make and easy to maintain. So it's a very massive advantage. Moving on to Botanians. Botanians are forest people, so their expertise is everything to do with forests. So they are infantry units and also ranged units. So that's their main kind of focus point. Their buff is forest gives 10% less speed penalty to parties. So it's a very good advantage for you to outrun most of the units, or basically other AI players within the game, as most of the world of Calradia is covered in woods, so it gives you a bit of an advantage. And if this is something you're into, I'll definitely recommend it, but otherwise that's something I wouldn't go, because personally there are better buffs out there. So that's what I'm going to be getting into now. From my personal choice, I would say the best picks to have is either Valandians, due to their 20% more upgrade XP to troops from battles, or Empire, with 20 construction speed bonus to town projects, wall repairs and siege engines, or Azerai with their caravans having to be 30% cheaper to build and 10% less in trade penalty, which is excellent. And also, the one that almost makes it on the list is the Khuzait one, as you outrunning and basically choosing your own battlefield is a massive advantage. For us, we're going to be going with Khuzait. The theme that we are going to be going with for this playthrough is going to be based on a character from Game of Thrones, and his name is Khal Drogo. For people who already know the series, you would understand that Khal Drogo actually, his destiny / his ambition was to take over the Seven Kingdoms, but he unfortunately died in the first season or so, as far as I remember. So he didn't have a massive good run, but I figured out that having to work with him in this game would work really well, because Khuzait is basically like the Dothraki from the Game of Thrones. So I was thinking kind of running that kind of little bit of story mode and see how where it takes us, and you know, nothing really too pressured. The only thing I would say is, with having to choose Khuzait, the only disadvantage for me would be to do sieges, and having people who are horse-based Empire. You're really good out there on the battlefield, but you're not really good with sieges. So obviously my units will dismount, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to do sieges. So that will probably be the most difficult aspect of this game. We're going to be jumping into creating our character, who's going to be based on Khal Drogo. I have a picture of him just down here. I'll pop a picture onto the screen just to show you. I'll try my best to make him look like that, but yeah, wish me best of luck. So we'll be going with the Khuzait. So here's your character design. Pretty straightforward. You can choose your gender, and obviously we'll be going with the male, as it will be Khal Drogo. Here you can pretty much easily set up any kind of different random character you want, and how they look and size and shape, whatever. It's really up to you to play around with it. You can create your own character, base it on a different character, you name it, you can do it. There are some limitations, but eventually I'm hoping that the game will release more updates and kind of allow you to play around with the character design more. But he's got this very nice golden brown, so I think we're going to be going with this character here. He's almost pretty much there. just going to adjust the height. You can have a very deep voice, which is quite understandable as a commander. The mouth expressions are insane. I think they might need to put a bit of work on that, but it's great. We need a strong leader. Strong voice is very important in this game. So options here for face, eyes, nose, mouth, hair, and markings. So you kind of go through it, choose what suits you the best, and how you want your character to kind of look like. Once again, like, it's not going to look 100% to what he is, but we're trying our best. Roughly, you could say this is how he looks like. Okay, so moving on to the family tree. So this is probably one of the most important aspects of your character design. Once you reach this place, any of these choices of what kind of family you have been brought up in. So what that means is basically if you choose, for example, merchants, your skill tree will involve more social aspect of things. So that includes having trading and charm. Once you go further into the game, into the options of like raising your childhood, you will have more choices of what exactly you want to level up in your skill tree. Our character will be specializing in one-handed weaponry, bows, riding, definitely scouting and tactics, and some social aspects as well, as they are very important. What you're trying to do here is basically just trying to suit your skill tree to what you want your character to be doing and what you want your character to be specializing in. So it's completely up to you. If you want to be a two-handed weapons master or a crossbowman. Anyway, so I'm going to quickly speed this through. However, throughout the gameplay and future on, I'll be kind of getting into more depth about what each skill tree and what each tier does. But if that's something you really want to know about, do message down in the comments down below, and I will try my best to kind of reply to all of them and also include more of that information within the gameplay. Okay, so as you can see, this is our final tier of like whatever you need to choose to kind of evolve into your skill tree. So these are the skills I have decided to pick. One main thing I do want to point out is these level points that you see on vigor, control, endurance, etc. These levels basically allow you to level up in the game faster on those certain kind of attributes. So for example, if you have high control, you will be leveling up on bow, crossbow, and throwing a lot faster. So that's what that kind of means. So for my character, I have chosen to have to wield a single-handed weapon. As Khal Drogo in his series, he uses a single-handed weapon. I'm not going to get into too much like every little thing that the character has, as that's merely impossible. Character's secondary hand weapon will be a bow and arrow. It's very important for me to also have a very good horse riding capabilities as well, because the character will be on horse most of the time. What is also very important to have tactics. It's very important as your judgment on how troops will perform in a contact. This allows you to make a good prediction of when unorthodox the tactic will work and when it won't. And also like having scouting as well is very important. Another very important aspect is your social aspect, and having tribute and leadership and charm is basically kind of allows you to, once you meet lords in the later of the game, is to kind of make yourself presented, and it's very good for you to have the charm skill, ability to speak basically, and it kind of can give you some perks in the future of the gameplay. Anyway, and for the last one we have intelligence, and that's for stewarding, which means your knowledge of what makes a settlement prosper. This helps you to manage an estate or a town. So yeah, that's very important obviously, as you will be progressing into the game and you will be having your own settlements, so it's very important to know how to run them as well, and having that attribute as well. That's my last attribute that I'm choosing, which is you rode off the fast horses, and we'll be moving on to the next chapter, is to obviously name your character. So for our character, his name will be Khal. I believe that's how it's spelled. If not, then please do shout at me, and I'll try to correct it. if there's something that you don't want, or is there something you want to change, you're always able to kind of go back and change those kind of options. And then yeah, just don't click too far away, because then you will lose all the progress and you're gonna have to start everything all over again, which I have done before and it's really annoying. So don't be me, just do it right. Anyway, so now we're gonna be moving into the actual gameplay. I want this gameplay to be more challenging. I do not want to rush it. I want this to be more of an enjoyable series where you can kind of follow me on the adventure and just see what it holds, what will become of this series really. And that's what I'm kind of here for as well, as this is my first ever YouTube video, and I hope you guys really enjoy this. And what is also very important for me to mention is I'm not going to be running the game by save files, which I do notice a lot of people do, and I find that as cheating, because you kind of run the game in your way. So if things do not work out in the game, I'll be following those things. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to be saving the game to my advantage, if that makes sense. And now we're basically ready to move on into starting the game. I do have to say, like, one really amazing aspect of this game is how they have well attributed to giving the chance for artists to express themselves on this game, and literally the digital art for this game is absolutely beautiful. Brother, it's been 3 days now. We've been tracking those bastards. I think we're getting close. We need to think about what happens when we catch them. How are we going to rescue Yatu and Alti? I do have to say, excuse my pronunciation, I'm horrible at pronouncing words, so are we up for a fight? So this looks like an old training field for the legions. Perhaps we can spare some time and brush off our skills. The practice could come up useful when we catch up with the raiders. So I'm going to run the course, and let's go on then, play the combat tutorial. So here you go. You got all the extra screens. You have to kind of move around with your basic WASD keys, and you on your top left corner you got some stuff you can kind of go through. Anyway, so we're gonna be going through the combat field here. I genuinely just love the texture pack. Like, this is just beautiful. Like, the textures, like, look, there's just leaves. Oh my god, like, this game is absolutely wonderful. Okay, so choose a weapon to begin training. I'm a kind of like a shield kind of guy, but at the same time we're gonna be on a horseback, so let's do this. So defend yourself 4 times and attack the trainer 4 times. No worries. Go to the trainer. Oh, defend from the left. He accidentally hit me, but that's fine. I have to defend from the up. Oh, there we go. And from the bottom. I do have to say, controls are very hard at the beginning, but eventually you will be able to kind of master it. You kind of have to move with the whole character, and I think that's the beautiful aspect of this game, is to you get really involved, and it's not as simple as you have auto block, for example. Like, you really get to the roar of the game where you have to control everything. So anyway, so we move on to choosing a weapon, and I think we're going to be actually going into proper combat. Where is your face? What happened to you? Oh my god! What is going? Oh my god! Yeah, so the game is still in. Well, the game's been out for a little while, but it's in the early access. Oh, you're a difficult veteran, aren't you? Come on, old man. Let's do this. Oh my god. Can I to like, time you right? It to like died. Did we win? Oh my god, we won. Oh no, we're fighting the no-face guy. But he's got a 2-handed sword, which is a bit of a... One of the great things is if you know how to control your character, you can really outsmart heavy... Oh, look at that, we won that very easily. And we have successfully finished the training. Congratulations. What I do have to say, like, this is why the game is so amazing. Like, he seems like a very big dude, and like, the game aspect, because he's got a heavy sword, it takes him longer to charge his weapon at me. But for example, for him, he was a bit more difficult because he had a shield and obviously a lighter equipment, so he was freer to attack. But with him, I could outmaneuver him. Anyway, so we have finished with the training here. I think we just go back. So yeah, if you do not feel sure, you can always come back and like kind of do your thing. Sadly, you can't run any faster than this. If you press your caps, you get to either walk a regular pace or you can get to run, but that's as far as you can run. Press F to mount the horse, and we just go, really. We have to hit our targets. Another excellent thing is if you press R, you get to go into the first person view. So we just basically run through the map. You get to shoot all the targets, which is very nice. Oh my god, like the overall game is just so beautiful. You get to feel as well, like it's not as easy to also control the horse whilst shooting arrows, but this game is just very well balanced. It's absolutely great. There we go. Seems like I was almost a born. Almost a born Khuzait, or Dothrakian, if you may say. I'm nowhere near as professional in this game, but I just want to share this journey with you guys. Oh, look at this little tiny bridge. Very cute. I like bridges. Sneaky shot right there. Beautiful. Get to jump as well. Oh, did you see that? A pick shot. Oh no. Yeah, I'm nowhere near as experienced, but I'll get back into it. Like, yeah. How automatic those doors are. Damn. Some crazy technology. Anyway, so we're going to be moving into... So we are here at the archery station. This is probably the most fun thing I always find. Archery is just... I personally absolutely love archery. And you get the different choices between throwing javelins to a bow and also a crossbow. Can you please get out of the way, sir? It is time for me to shoot you in the face. Yeah, they won't do anything like in Skyrim, so yeah. And yeah, we just basically, once we start shooting everything, the time starts. So feel free to beat me on the record, but once again, I'm nowhere near professional. One thing you do notice is once you're a mounted horse archer, the inner circle that you see where it's aiming is a lot more closed, which means you are more accurate while you're on foot, which makes sense. And this is why this game is so great with the mechanics. So, is that they really focus on the aspect of you're not going to be the most accurate person on a horse, but this is the thing that you need to level up. Anyway, so once you're kind of explored everything and like you kind of explore what your kind of niche is, like if you like using crossbows, bows, you know, swords, double-handed swords, you get it. So you come back to your brother and are you ready to leave here? And once again, we're ready, and we're good to go. So I'm ready. Let's go. As you can see here, brother. Before we do anything else, we're low on food. There's a village north of here where we can buy provisions and find some help. You're a better rider than I am, so let you lead the way. This is basically pretty much the start of the gameplay. Is you are this one little person in this very massive world called Calradia. Anyway, so let's not waste any time. Let's get on with the tutorial. You can enter the settlement by pressing the highlighted button on the left, so take a walk around. We are here, I guess. So we need food, and after that maybe some men to come with us. That would be an excellent choice. The headman here can probably help us. Let's try to find him. Okay, so speak to the headman and hold left alt key to see the location of the headman. I'm Soferis, headman of the village. What brings you here? We need help. Some raiders have taken our younger brother and sister captive. We think they may have passed this way. Ooh, they got your people too. Sorry to hear that. Those bastards have done a bit of killing and looting in these parts as well. We think they have gone north. I reckon there are a few folk around here who would join you in going after them if you will pay for their gear. Once you made your preparation, come and talk to me again. Left tab to exit, and we need to recruit some troops. There we go. We got headman's troops. Very nice. Hello, Headman Sophiris. Glad to see you found your what you needed. Now, about that matter I mentioned earlier. There's this wandering doctor who come through here from time to time named Tactitos. Tic Tacs. I don't know. Treats people for free. Oh, that's really nice of him. We're very fond of him. Of course you are. We all last saw him a few days ago. He was carrying some sort of chest, which he was very mysterious about. He was on some sort of quest. He said Fort wouldn't tell us more. He set off on the road just a few hours before the raiders came through him. Well, he's not really a wanderly type, just the kind of fellow who would stumble into a trap and let himself be captured. We're worried about him. I'm assuming you would be, because he treats people for well, and that's a very massive good attribute for you. If you can keep an eye out for him, we would be very grateful. Maybe if he's alive and well, he will tell you a little more about his quest. Okay. Very nice. These are the raiders who have passed through, so we have to leave. Go to each of these raiders and see if they have captured the Tactios. Anyway, let's attack. So this is where you're going to be able to see the actual gameplay. Alright, so we are in our first battle. Men, are we ready? If you press Alt, you can see as the raiders are coming our way, you have to press F1 and F3 to make the cavalry charge. Hold on your weapon and hope for dear luck you get someone, and we did. Oh my god, you do not probably feel good after that one. So yeah, eventually once you get to level up in the game, you'll get to faster horses, better gear, better weapons, so this might take a little while, and it's very good for you to kind of get the overall aspect of the game and kind of test stuff out. And it's really fun, to be honest, and it's a bit of a challenging aspect of this game is to lead your armies and do successfully. I'm gonna kind of step back because I'm kind of ran into a tree. I'm kind of a little bit low on health, so I'm gonna let the guys do the rest of the work. I definitely kind of would give you a bit of a word of advice that Empire's troops are really good and their archers are fantastic. But that's something for you to discover. Come on, man, let's go! You can do it! Alright, let's do. Oh, one of our troops went down. That's very interesting. I'll quickly do another charge. Actually, hit a horse. Maybe give a bit of an encouragement. Oh no! Oh, bloody hell! Yeah, I should have stayed back. But yeah, our men standed off the raiders. We did absolutely brilliant. There we go. So, recruiting and taking prisoners. After a hard-fought battle, you may have the choice to take some prisoners or recruit those that you have freed from your enemy. Both options are done by transferring the troops to your party with the little arrow button on the left. Yeah, we're not going to get into too much details of that, but yeah, what you can do is you can get the prisoners and then you can sell them off for more money, which is a very good thing. And sell it off and make some more money. We have to keep continuing and finding this Tactios guy. Anyway, men, let's fight. Let's find Tactios. I can't pronounce him. F1 and F3 for charge. The controls of how to control your army is also very interesting in this game. It will take you a little while as well, but once you kind of get a battle or two going through, you'll be a master in no time. I can assure you that. Also, word of advice wouldn't be to run into massive groups of enemy units, as it will slow down your horse and you'll lose that momentum of charging. So it's very important for you to kind of get that charge and do as much damage as possible to one unit. So there we go. What can I say? I'm just insanely skilled at this game. I'm not really. Whoa! Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, we won! Yes, troops, we did it! Excellent. Oh, we got a bit of renown from it. That's really nice. Yeah, just get all the prisoners to your side. Some spoils of war. Alright, and as I expected in the game, you'll probably have to fight all three of the raiders in order to find this guy, but obviously that's something you'll be going through. I'm not sure why my horseman decided to run over the water, as that really slows them down. As you can see, one of the horses already went down, which is a massive problem. Which means one of our units is going to go down as well. Come on, you peasant! Very nice. And there we go. Done. And we gain 1 morale. Very nice. We just take all the prisoners with us, and there we go. Some more spoils of war. Notification. You've rescued several prisoners that the raiders had been dragging along. Ooh, this might be the Tactos guy. Yes, it is. Hello. I don't know who you are, but I'm in your debt. My name is Tactius. I'm the doctor by trade. I was on, well, a bit of a quest, but now thinking I'm not really made for that kind of thing. I was with a caravan and they just came out of the brush. We were surrounded and outnumbered, so we gave up. I figured they would keep us alive if just for the ransom, but then they started flogging us along the top speed without any water, and I was just about ready to drop. I could feel the signs of heat stroke creeping up, and I told them, but they just flogged me more. If your group hadn't came along, maybe I have a way to thank you properly. We're looking for 2 children captured by the raiders. Can you tell us anything? I'm afraid I haven't seen any children, but after our caravan was attacked, the chief of the raiders, the one they call Radagast, took the road off with our more valuable belongings, including the chest that I had. He seemed to be controlling more than one band raiding around this area. If this lot has your kin, then I think he would be the one to know. And since I have nothing of value left to repay for your help, I'll tell you this: if you do catch up with and defeat the Ruffian, you may be able to recover my chest. It contains a valuable ornament, which I was told it could be of great value if you knew where to sell it. I was trying to find out more about it, but as I say, I had all my urge for traveling flogged out of me. Right now, I don't think I'll venture more than 20 paces from a well as long as I live. We'll keep that in mind. It doesn't look like much, and I suspect this lot would give it away for a few coins, but I got it from a mercenary whom I treated once, and I swore it was related to the Narazis Folly. I can't pronounce that, but I don't know what that means, except the Narazis was a course of the Emperor who died in a battle some years back. Maybe you can find out its true value. Thanks for saving me again. I hope our paths will cross again. I hope so too as well. You're a very lovely chap. We're done with that now. Here we go. We go on the quest and will tell us what we need to do. So we need to find the Radagast hideout. And I believe, oh, there we go. And it just pops up on the map. I think with most of the quests, they will mostly be highlighted onto the game. And yeah, I think we just make our way there and find this Radagast guy. and get our little trusty chest. Let's hope it gets some value out of this, because we are risking our bloody lives. So yeah, let's just jump in and try to get these guys down. Alright. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Oh. Oh, this was a difficult one. Probably gonna get these guys down here. Well, I'll try to 1v1 this guy. Come here, senpai. Excuse me, sir. Do you have my brother or sister? Did he just put his face paint on? Attack. Alright, let's hope we can defeat this guy. Yeah, the game mechanics is very beautiful in this game. Very nice. I would actually kind of want to live there, like have a nice house there and just retire. That's kind of the end goal, you know. Get loads of babies, get a nice wife, and then we're gonna just sit there and, you know, just remember the good old times where we started. Hello, I see you. Come here. I has nice surprise for you. Men, attack. Actually, men, can you stay here for now? Come on. You, me. 1v1. Let's go. No, 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 no. Oh, these guys are brutal. Look at my guys, just getting this guy on. Alright, come here, my friend. Yeah, okay. I do not dual slavers, men attack. There we go. Let's not try to die, because if we die we fail the mission and that's not going to be good on us. We've got plenty of men to take care of the situation at the moment. Very nice, men. Yeah, we won. We got tapped just to escape. Very nice. Radagos. Well, I recognize defeat when I see it. If I'm going to be your captive, let me introduce myself. I'm Radagos. Yes, I do know that. Nice to meet you. You haven't cut my throat yet, which was a wise move. I'm sure I can find a way to be worth more to you alive than dead. You better help us get our brother and sister back, or you will swing from a tree. That's, you know, that's pretty nasty. Don't swing from a tree. Oh, you will need my help, alright. If you want to get them back alive, that is. See, my boys have some pretty specific instructions about what to do if there's a rescue attempt. Shall we get on the road? Remember, if I drop dead of exhaustion or drown in some river, that's it for your little dears. I don't expect a cozy palanquin now, but you do best not to make it too hard a trip. Fair enough. Yes, brother. I was hoping to find more treasure here, but I think business wasn't going too well for Radagos and his gang. I found a strange-looking metal piece, though. It doesn't look too valuable, so you're talking about the metal cup thing crown. But it could be an artifact. Tactitas was talking about. Maybe we can sell it to one of the noble clans for a hefty price. Alright then, let's go on the road. I have a better idea. We would have a better chance if we split up now and take Radagos and go find the slaver market and look for a way to free the children. However, we must be careful not to endanger their lives, and it could be better to just buy them. We need to have our purses full for that, though. I'll need to take these men with us. Radagos is a slippery one. I don't want him to get away. So you want me to raise the money to ransom the little ones? Indeed. You will have to find a way to do that. Maybe this bronze thing can help. Tactios said it could be worth a fortune to the right person. If you manage not to get killed, if he's telling the truth, you must be careful. Never reveal that you have it, but try to understand its value and how can it be sold. We'll try our best. One more thing. When you're talking to nobles and other people of importance, make sure you present yourself as someone from a distant but distinguished family. And so here we go. We can finally choose our family name, which for our sake is going to be Drago. So Khal Drogo. I believe that's how it's spelled. And there we go. You can use our family name if you like, or make up a new one. You will have a better chance of obtaining an audience with nobles, and it will be easier for me to find you by asking around. That is very true indeed. Okay, so we are here in the flag customization. We need something a little bit more Khuzait style, so our focus is going to be cavalry units, so I think it's very important for us to kind of resemble that look, and I think I want to kind of go with a more of a black background. So that's sorted. And there we go. Tutorial is over, and you're now free to explore Calradia. So yeah, that's the tutorial finished, and we're now basically good to go and explore Calradia and conquer the 8 kingdoms and show them who the boss is. And here we are already coming into one big problem of some looters. So yeah, we're just gonna be chilling. We'll quickly recruit some troops so we get to have some bit of units and to protect ourselves, because these AI units that travel around can capture you and it can cause a bit of a headache. Anyway, so we're gonna be heading up to Karen. I'm gonna wait here some time, get a bit of that daytime going. What we'll end this episode on is going to the tavern, sitting down, having a nice cold beer, and enjoying a very nice meal of food. Ooh, they already set it up for me. Oh, you guys are beautiful. Thank you very much. Sorry, sir. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna be your best friend now. But yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and this kind of run through. Episode 2 will be coming out shortly. My overall plan is to kind of have this series going for quite a bit of time. I'll be trying to upload at least 3 times a week, maybe 4, depending on how the current world situation, pandemic goes. But I hope I'll be able to invest as much more time. And yeah, thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for watching. My name is SnuxSnux, and peace out.